Good evening, Mayor and Council. So there's 4 items all related on the water plant. We've been discussing this for about 6 months now. And since June of 2019, really. So this is the last large phase of the current water plant, the financing component of that. Unless, I don't know if we want to talk about all 4 items because they're all kind of related, or address them separately, but this is the financing portion, utilizing the Oklahoma Water Resources Board Financial Assistance Program loan. Basically gives us their AAA rating and utilizing their funding instead of tying up senior lien against the utility. So.
Do you want to explain what items 2, 3, and 4 are, so we can just
Sure.
get it all lumped together, and then we'll come back and vote on the individual pieces?
Yep, that sounds good. The next one seems to be popular, so we'll talk about the budget amendment. It's basically giving us budget authority with the current process that we have. In order to encumber funds, we need the budget authority, and that's what this is giving, so that we can encumber the funds. The construction portion and the consulting contract that's on item 4 are not till FY27. That's how it's listed in the agenda item. And then there's a portion that's out of our reserve fund that is for contract further down in the agenda. So, and lastly, but not least, the whole reason that we're here is the construction contract itself. Bids came in, well, a bid came in, single bid, with our current water plant contractor for $377 million. This does include the owner's allowance that we had discussed at a previous meeting. So that's all inclusive of construction for that last phase of the water plant. That will move us from 12 million gallons a day to 30 million gallons a day at the water plant. It is our single largest investment in city infrastructure. I'd say not even close. But it does represent the last largest piece of this water puzzle that we've been putting together for about 13 years now, and the revised plan that started in 2019 when we were asked to change how the water plant was going to be phased in. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions?
I don't have questions. I wanted to highlight a few points from our Finance Committee discussion about this. So we have been building towards this. The city has for many, many years now. This was the reason for the rate increases. I won't go into the talking points on why that was important for the city. I think we exhausted that over the last 3 months. This is really about the financing of that, and specifically the debt financing of that. We don't love having debt, but in this case, to me, it makes sense to spread the cost of our infrastructure project out over future years, over future users, rather than asking current ratepayers to pay the full amount. So that's part of the logic behind why we want to why we think it's best to finance this. The not to exceed cost there, 416, is it's what it says, a not to exceed number. We expect it to come in lower than that, but need to set a ceiling kind of for the financing. It is a little bit higher than we had planned in the rate study. That being said, we don't plan on adjusting rates right now. We have some flexibility in the timing and other things, other variables within the rate study to where we don't think we need to mess or revisit that. Right now, we have already planned to revisit that in the next coming years. Not planning to raise rates again anytime soon, just to be clear. I think approval tonight allows you all to award this contract pending financing like tomorrow, right, or tonight. And then there's a process to get those funds from the Oklahoma Water Resources Board. We did look at several options in how to fund this with our council here and consultants, and so there were several options that were looked at. Using this Oklahoma FOP loan seemed to be the best balance of all the different factors. And so we did, just so people know, we did diligence on that, looked at several options. So we are also able to invest these funds until they're used, which I think is a good talking point. So there is interest charge with debt, but if you can reinvest that at the same rate or lower, then that gives us some offset of the cost of interest there, cost of money. The refund terms on this are favorable compared to other similar ones, 7-year refund terms. So in other words, in 7 years, we can look at this and potentially refinance it or pay it down or do other things. That gives us some flexibility depending on what happens with rates and the market. We have discounted fees for the advisement and from OWRB on this, which is appreciated since it's a big project. They were willing to work with us a little bit on that. The interest rate is in the 4 dot somethings, which is pretty close to what we assumed in the rate study. And then there's some contingency built in both on the owner side and on the contractor side for surprises, so that insulates us a little bit against cost surprises. So I think that's smart to do, like we talked about last meeting. So my takeaway was, and I think I might be quoting these guys from our finance committee meeting the other day, but the lowest cost of funds with the most favorable ability to prepay or refinance was kind of my takeaway. So from my evaluation of this, and we've done a pretty deep dive on it, several hours, I think it's the best balance of all the different factors that we're looking at here for funding this project that was a high priority for the city and has been for years and was on our strategic plan as such last November. So appreciate all the work that's gone into that. There's a lot of details under the hood. It's all been transparent. It's all out there if people want to look at it. It's a big move for the city, but one that's strategically important that I support. So appreciate the work on it.
Ms. Murdoch-Nichols, do you have anything? Mr. Frame?
Something we have to do, something that's never fun. I mean, your fun starts now, but it is critical for good water, and I think most people, when it's explained, understand that. So, good work by all, and time to get going.
It'll be fun when it's completed.
When it's completed.
Yeah, construction is hardly fun.
I'm going to echo what both of you all said. The one thing, Mr. Krieger, that I want to make sure that we accomplish, and Kathy Panis has heard me say this until she's probably sick of hearing it from me, is as we move forward, we have got to separate out our capital budget from our city budget, and that we handle these capital projects correctly, because when we roll everything into a single budget, we literally, by making this budget amendment, are increasing the budget for a single year by $416 million, and we're not going to spend $416 million in 1 year.
Right.
And it makes it really hard for our citizens to understand what's going on. So as we move forward, I want to make sure that we get that. I mean, I know that's a piece we've been working on, and we're working towards it over the next year. I want to make sure that we get this cleaned up so that people can really tell what's happening in a year. And then knowing what our long-term capital projects look like and what the debt is for them and how we pay for them. So, but I do appreciate all the work that's gone into this, because it has not been easy. And I know Mr. Moore is not here tonight. But I think I can say from where he sits that we all have struggled with this over the last few months to come up with the plan. And we made a promise when we approved the first piece of this at our last meeting that we would look at this a year from now and a year after that to see, as we get into this, if there is a way for us to come back and reduce water rates if we can do that. I think we owe that to the citizens of Edmond to make sure that we do it that way. So, and I think everyone was in agreement. So I do appreciate the work, but the work has just begun.